All right. Get ready to get them started. Get the theme song on. All right. Those of us that indulge in or commit intellectual violence and do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation and ego, we do so because change is pressure. All right. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM, the Advocacy Education Station. I'm your host and third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs. I think I need to remind some people what the Open Eye is about. Okay? The speed of communication is wondrous to behold. It is also true that speed can multiply the distribution of information we know to be untrue. That's a quote from Edward R. Murrow. In the current 24-second news cycle, information reaches the masses at blinding speed. Unfortunately, this information is often poorly researched and filled with falsehoods and misinformation. This leaves us with an uneducated, uninformed, misled, misinformed community. Mainstream media, which is completely corporate owned, has become nothing more than stenographers and mouthpieces for the powers that be. Rarely exploring or investigating anything beyond what they are told. Mainstream journalism has become a joke. The joke is fair and balanced reporting. Unfortunately, it is a joke on the uninformed, misinformed community. I simply cannot accept that there are on every story two equal and logical sides to an argument. It's either or. That's a quote from Edward R. Murrow. Let me read that again. I simply cannot accept that there are on every story two equal and logical sides to an argument. One side is wrong, the other side is right. That's it. There may be some nuances and gray areas, but there are not two equal and logical sides to an argument. There are 1,500 newspapers, 1,100 magazines, 9,000 radio stations, 1,500 TV stations, 2,400 publishers, and these are all owned by 3 corporations. Welcome to the Open Eye. What is the Open Eye about? The Open Eye radio show is about keeping your vision clear. The Open Eye is about well-researched, accurate reporting and honest, fearless social political commentary free of corporate influence. Our community must have information not based on emotionalism, sensationalism, or manipulation, but information that is well analyzed and clear and concise that will educate the community. We must control the propaganda. We understand the importance of this. It's for this reason we have decided to take on the responsibility of keeping our community well informed. Join us on the Open Eye. We're here every Saturday, 11 a.m. on WHGE 95.3 FM. Right. A disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Open Eye are those of the host, guests, and contributors. They do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM, who are our sponsors.
Hey, Sherry.
Any content provided by Open House hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to belong to any religion, ethnic group.
All right, Brother Jardea, peace.
WHGE 95.3 FM. It's July. What is this? It's July 2nd, as a matter of fact. Last month, and I didn't get to get into this, but last month was Black History Month. I mean, not Black History, Black Music Month. That's what it was, Black Music Month. Now, to give a quote from someone that a lot of our people had shunned, and partly his own fault. All right, even though this brother, in my opinion, even though he's done some things I don't agree with, in my opinion, this brother gets something said when he really kicking it. This is what he said. Music can be a very revolutionary force. It always has been. When you look at any revolutionary movement, there was music to go with. Just like music can wake you up, it can also put you to sleep. When you come into a community, if you don't know the mental state of the people, all you have to do is listen to the popular tunes they play. Andre 3000, that was a quote from Dr. Umar Johnson. Andre 3000 just recently said, modern music has lost its creativity, its courage. Let me tell you something. From Louis Armstrong's Black and Blue in the late 1920s to Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit in the 30s, Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn in the 60s, James Brown's Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud in the late 60s, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On and Stevie Wonder's Living in the City in the 70s. Music has always had its consciousness, including the early days of hip hop, from Run DMC's It's Like That through the apex of conscious rap as produced by Public Enemy. Oh shoot, I got somebody in here. Oh, it's Sister Tracy. Hey, Tracy. All right.
I did not mean to join physical.
That's all right, sister. That's all right. For those of you, look, I'm gonna go ahead and take you off, but nothing but love for you, sister. You know that, Queen. All right. Okay. All right. Back to what I was saying about music now. What most critics miss is that, for the most part, gangster rap maintained a level of consciousness. Then corporate America got involved, and rappers could no longer get airplay with music that informed and uplifted. All right, a second here. All right. With music that where was it? That informed and uplifted. Now the music that gets airplay is about materialism, machismo, misogyny, and ignorance. Gangster rap became thug rap, and now they got this thing called drill rap. This is neither coincidence, nor is it happenstance. This is a planned, purposeful process with an intended outcome. It is no secret that young fans tend to emulate their favorite artists, and that these artists have the power of influence. So there's a lot of artists out there now that, I tell you what, I piss off. Because none of these people give a damn about anything but fame and money. Not one of them give a damn about the advancement of our community or people. This is why thug rap, drill rap is so popular, because that's what's pushed, made available, and sex and violence sells. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs, joined on the air by my partner in consciousness, Nsoromma. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's good? Hello, world.
All right. All right. Now, I got to deal with something here. And some people might not understand who we are to each other. Okay? Last week, we had a contentious debate, if you will. Okay,
Oh, that's this radio.
that's just radio. Okay, and you know, you got some people are like, well, I would have did this, that, and the other thing, you know, and it makes me think of my dear friend Kevin Bort. Kevin and I called ourselves second generation best friends.
Okay.
All right, we met each other because our mothers grew up together.
Right.
So we were really great friends. Well, Kevin and I were arguing,
Right.
okay? And those arguments were running out the air.
Heated
arguments. We called each other some names that wasn't even invented before we said them.
Making up stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know?
Oh.
Well, it was a cat and it was when we was in our early 20s. It was a cat in Cad's neighborhood.
Right.
Who looked up to Cad, a couple of years younger than us.
Okay.
He looked up to Cad. And he would do things to try to impress Cad and fit in with Cad and let him know that he wins.
Oh, get his brownie points from Cad.
Get his brownie points from Cad. So he was witness to one of these arguments that me and Kevin had.
Okay.
So he figured he's going to show that he's on Kevin's side. And he goes, punch me in the mouth. What? Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, he sure
Yo,
did. Before I could get a hand on Kev, beat the hell out of him. Yeah.
Right, people don't know, and you know, everything ain't what it look like, and everything ain't what it sound like. So, that's where people get it mixed up at. You know,
yeah, people get confused on that.
Hey, this is my brother forever.
Ever. We go back 30 years.
Yo, man.
Yeah, buddy. Right. But look, as we always do, I start off with some history. History today. There's a lot going on, but I got to do this. Okay. I think I want to say Brother Vaughn was responsible for hipping me to this.
Thanks, Brother Vaughn. Yo, we got some Patreons that be helping us out a lot.
I'm telling you.
We appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Give us more to talk about.
Big time.
More to explore.
Mm-hmm. Today, I want to tell you about Alexander Jefferson.
Alexander Jefferson.
Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Jefferson of the Tuskegee Airmen 32nd Fighter.
Okay.
He passed away on June 22nd at the age of 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yes, indeed. He served distinguishedly in the U.S. Air Force during World War II. Now, Jefferson was shot down during an attack mission and was captured by German forces. And here's what was interesting. Jefferson stated in an interview that the Germans treated him like they did any other officer. And after being freed and returning home to the States, as he disembarked in the New York harbor, there was a white soldier directing him, saying, white soldiers to the right, N-word soldiers. He didn't even call him a black man. N-word soldiers to the left. This is a lieutenant colonel. It's a colonel. After receiving a Purple Heart and a Distinguished Flying Cross, he returned home to a country that still treated him like a second-class citizen and inferior to whites. We salute you, brother. You was inferior to nobody, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Jefferson. And as an Air Force vet, I salute you, sir.
Salutes.
That's what it is.
Blessing.
Blessing. Yeah, but
yeah, man. And not to cut you off. Hey, yo, see, that's it'd be one person that can change the whole perspective.
yes, indeed.
You know, one person
One
can change
person.
the whole perspective.
Sure
You know?
can.
That's great.
That's what it is. You know. I want to keep on with some more history here.
Right.
Right. I just want my Ethiopian sister.
Yeah.
All right. And she said, being from Ethiopia, it's really interesting that we in Ethiopia have 13 months in our year. We have our own calendar.
Yeah.
America is 8 years ahead of us. That means it's 2014 in Ethiopia right now. And our New Year's Day is on September 11th. We don't have daylight savings time. All holidays like Christmas, Easter, Labor Day, or whatever, are all on different days than they are in America.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is, Ethiopia is the only country in Africa never to be colonized. Okay? Yeah. And the reason for that is, look, one of my favorite stories about Africa.
What?
Emperor Menelik II of Ethiopia.
Emperor Menelik?
Menelik. Okay. He was named after the son of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, legendary. Okay. Not only did he modernize his country by bringing in electricity, schools, hospitals, telegraphs, and such, he kept his nation free from the colonizers. While Europe divided most of Africa for themselves during the 1880s, the Italians attempted to gain a protectorate over Ethiopia by having Emperor Menelik sign a treaty in Aramaic, while the Italians had another one in their own language. His wife, Empress Tatu, tore up the treaty. No, we ain't going for this. Menelik secretly obtained weapons from France and Russia, and his wife also recruited female warriors to join the battles, similar to the Black Panther movement. He shocked the world by fighting and defeating Italy at the Battle of Ottawa in 1896, bringing shame to Italy, but hope to people of African descent around the world. Haile Selassie, who became emperor in 1930, was his cousin. Okay, and you can read more about him in Joseph Harris' book, Africans in Their History. Yeah, right. That's Emperor Menelik II kept Ethiopia free. Here we are coming around. All right, we're gonna come back to this. We're gonna move on to what needs to happen since Roe versus Wade and this, that, and the other. All right. And this is something that, you know, just let me read this quote. This is what one woman said. Rapists get to choose the mother of their children now. And that one sentence alone is enough for me to be pro-choice.
Say that again, because that's messy. That's super messy. Yeah. Vaughn, that's messy.
Yeah. Rapists get to choose the mother of their children now.
Wow,
man. Okay? Because with this new, you know, with Roe versus Wade being overturned and these laws in these rigged states and what have you,
right?
And if a rapist see a woman, he like, my son sure would look good coming out of that lady. He can go ahead and rape her. And she has to have the baby. According to the law, she can't get an abortion just because she was raped. This is how sick these people are. Rapists get to choose the mother of their children. And check this out. If the rapist is in jail, you know, and he goes to jail and gets out, and he gets to have access to that child of the woman that he raped, whether she is a stranger or not. Okay? If she feels like, I cannot raise this child, and this rapist takes the child, she has to pay child support. Damn. What the hell?
No, and yo, it's a little deeper than that to me. I you know, I'm a Gemini. I always see between the lines and past the line and around the corner. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, they passed this particular law, right, saying that you can't have these abortions. Then, from the fact that they gave you all these needles because they want to see the offspring of what the needles do. You understand? If people having abortions and stuff like that, they wouldn't be able to track the
results.
Yeah, the results from
the experiment.
Of the experiment. And you see what I'm saying? And that's all in that. I think that's all in the, you know, structure of it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was going to say. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's what I say about overturning Roe versus Wade. This is done by white men who want to control, who want to control their women's bodies and say they got to have children. You know, there's a couple of ways that you white women can deal with this. Okay, one way is to take a lesson from other countries. All right, I think it was in Nigeria. The men were cutting up and running around on the women and this, that, and the other, and,
Right.
Involved in corruption and not doing anything for the community and what have you. So the women cut them off. And when I say they cut them off, I don't mean they removed any body parts. No more loving until y'all learn how to act right. Guess what? It didn't take long for them Nigerian men to get their stuff together and get some act right. When the women cut off the loving, oh, that was it. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. All right.
They didn't go to kissing on each other and all of that?
No, they didn't. No, they wasn't with that. I tell you something. No, they didn't go with the, bestiality and what have you, They got some act right. Okay. That's what they did. They got some act right. And then the women welcome them back to
that will straighten you out, though.
They will. You act right. Ain't no loving going on, and you get some act right then.
Right.
Now in '75, the Icelandic women, the women in Iceland, they walked up their jobs out their households, and they took to the streets to demand equal rights with men. They refused to do any work, whether it was in the workplace or the home. They weren't cooking nothing. They weren't answering no phones at the reception centers. Oh, they left the child care to the men. The country effectively shut down as men struggled to cope. Can you dig that? Radio announcers read news bulletins with the sound of children playing in the background because mom said, I'm not taking care of these, you little bastards, because you ain't acting right. And it took time for things to change. It didn't happen overnight. But I tell you what, 5 years later, Iceland had the first democratically elected female president in the world. Let's get some act right. You get some good. Oh, I tell you what, as I said, ain't nothing like what? Cutting off that lust. Getting you some act right. That's what I tell you that. Yeah, better act right. Better act right. Better act right. That's word. WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah. This is Open Eye. What's the deal?
What's good? Hey, Tracy. What up, Jerry? Yo, Vaughn. Hey, yo, Donnell. What's good? Luther. Thanks for tuning in. You dig? You know what it is. We go in because we go in. Sherry! What's happening? Yup.
WHGE 95.3 FM. One thing we were talking about last week, of course, was, about guns and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And I had mentioned the Deacons of Defense.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back on a little history again.
Okay.
It was a group that a lot of people don't know about. They keep it from us as far as historical documentation. Matter of fact, when they found out about it in the 20s, 30s, or whatever it was, right? They started reporting on it, and then they got a little shaky because they thought that the report that they made on this situation would encourage more black people. Okay. Have you ever heard of the Before Day Club?
The Before Day Club?
Yeah.
No, I can't say that.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't. The Before Day Club was basically a black mafia that was like from 1904 well into like the 30s and even 40s. Yeah. Okay. And they were a group that was dedicated to robbing and killing white people. All right. And the way white America found out about it was from this dude, Paul Reed. I think that was his name, Reed. What Reed did, he and his partner, they were actually lynched, right? All right, behind some actions that they did. Okay. And Reed said he and Cato committed this crime, right? While another black dude, Dan Young, served as a lookout. And at the trial, Reed changed the story, claiming that he had served as a lookout and the murders were committed by somebody else.
Yeah.
All right. But the whole time, what he told was the story of the Before Gay Club, and he said they were responsible for the murder of this white family, and that quickly spread. Okay. The Before Gay Clubs were soon discovered in places like Georgia, Alabama, and Virginia. Okay. Helena, Arkansas. Okay. Some of these Before Gay Clubs, all right, they decided that they were going to have Black-only communities. One of those places was Helena, Arkansas, where the Before Gay Club, the Blacks in the Before Gay Club, got together, got their arms up, and they ran the white people out. Yeah. Another thing about the lynchings, okay, a lot of times, Black people were saved from these lynchings by members of the Before Gay Club. All right.
Wow.
A lot of these lynchings,
about that.
yeah, a lot of these lynchings took place in places where Blacks were outnumbered and whites could run up on them. Right. But in places where Blacks had a large number of people, those lynchings didn't happen because they would run up on them with guns and say, "Hey, we're not happy."
Right.
You know.
I mean, that's how it has to be. You know.
That's how everywhere. Everywhere.
It can't just be on certain areas,
right?
Because that's what they target. They
that's
target only their areas. They ain't gonna come in our area and try to do it. You know, they always protecting their own particular area, which everybody has free to really go anywhere you want to go. We're not the ones or the people that when you come into our area, we don't look at you to want to kill you or tell you to get out or feel some kind of animosity towards you.
For nothing.
We've always come open armed. You know,
big part of our problem.
Yeah, a big part of that is our problem because we care really. We care too much.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. And like I said, you know, in these areas where there was you know, large number of Black people,
right?
You know, they wasn't having it. And I brought that up to let people know that back in the day, the idea that we were just taking it laying down was not so.
Right.
We did not take it laying down.
You know, just like they control the media right now. They only show you what they want to show you. That's always been going on, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why we created this media.
How about that? How about that? Okay, now we all heard of Emmett Till.
Yeah. I've seen the story on it.
Yeah.
Sad,
man. The arrest warrant for Cal Brian Donham was discovered last week, and Till's family wants her to be charged nearly 70 years later because she was the catalyst. She was the reason that Emmett Till was murdered. She lied on him and said that, you know, he whistled at her. Yeah. You know.
And she said that on her dying bed or something?
Well, no, she's still living.
Oh, she's still living? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why they want this husband arrested. Because now the charge that was brought up against her was kidnapping. And she was involved in his murder and in, you know, being taken. Yeah. So, being abducted. The charge against her was kidnapping. The sheriff at the time didn't act on the warrant, the arrest warrant, did not, because he said, well, she got 2 children. And then, you know, don't want to disrupt the family. After all, she has 2 children. Okay.
I think not only she should be arrested, but the police should be arrested too. That officer. I mean, they never go to the cause of the problem.
No.
Never.
No.
And that's what we want done.
That's what we want done.
Right.
The nerve of him to say she has 2 children. Because Emmett Till's mother no longer had a child because that racist policy, you know, lied on him and got him killed. Now you got some people today saying, well, you know, she's like 80-something years old or 90.
Don't matter. He
Don't
locked R.
matter.
Kelly up 30 years. So the age don't matter.
Don't matter.
Yeah. Bill Cosby locked up.
You know, it was rightfully turned around, you know. But like you said, don't matter. Don't matter. And I'm going to tell you something.
What?
We look at these white supremacists, you know, like the dude that up in Buffalo, I ain't forgot you, Peyton Grandin, who murdered 10 people in Buffalo.
I can't believe they made a game.
That's where written out.
I can't believe. Oh, that ain't him.
Yeah, remember the dude that shot the 2 people that got off? The one that got off, we talked about him last week. Yeah. They a video game. Jeez, right? The thing is, who's raising these people? It's the women behind white power. All right. Now, few Americans know the name Cornelia Dabney Tucker, but the Jim Crow South would not have been the same without this hustle. After the Supreme Court issued its 1954 decision in Brown versus Board of Education, ending public school segregation, Senator James Eastman, the cigar-smoking chairman of the Senate Judicial Committee, turned to Mrs. Tucker to help him aid in his 2-pronged assault on the decision. All right, and I bring this up because of what's going on now. While Mr. Eastman welded his chairmanship to counter civil rights, delaying, for example, the 1967 vote to confirm Thurgood Marshall, the first Black Supreme Court justice, he counted on Mrs. Tucker to organize grassroots opposition, and organize she did. She marched outside the court, wrote letters, and lobbied legislators, civic organizations, women's groups, and conservative coalitions to protest an active judicial branch, meaning the Supreme Court, which, you know, issued the decision on Brown versus Board of Education, which basically killed segregation. All the while, she modeled how to emphasize issues like constitutional overreach and the alarming march of communism while playing down racial segregation. Now, she is remembered as the country's leading opponent to integration until 2012. Law Library, University of Mississippi, was named after Mrs. Tucker, and whoever, you know, has faded into history. The Law Library of the University of Mississippi was named after this racist hustle. Okay, I bring her up because of what happened recently in Texas. All right, yeah, I got it right there. Amen. We did it.
They always laying and putting up statues and stuff of these terrorist killers. You know, you really don't know the true history of what they did, but you looking at their statue and you going, oh, that's a nice statue.
That's what. Yeah. I think yours is too low, bro. See, because look at the lines. The lines aren't on the cross.
Check 1, check 2. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Okay. Like I said, in Texas, the Texas Education Agency is proposing to the State Board of Education, who decides state curriculum, to change the word slavery to involuntary relocation.
Now, see, that's another manipulation that they're doing to try to erase the history of what it is they've done. Throughout all our life, it's been up front, and this is what it is. It ain't candy coated. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to candy coat it, make it seem like we put our hands up and say, yo, take us. I mean, we want to get, you know, I mean, that manipulation.
Involuntary relocation. You know what involuntary relocation is?
Right.
That's kidnapping. What the hell's wrong with you? That's kidnapping. All right? So they just don't want to say slavery, you know. Well, you know, it was too harsh. Yeah, it sounds too harsh.
Everyone knows what slavery means.
You know, this is the same clown that came up with involuntary immigrants and unpaid workers. If you're an unpaid worker, that means you're a goddamn slave. What the hell is wrong with these people? Yeah.
Their vocabulary is the spell. That spell they put on you, bang you upside your head.
Oh man.
Oh,
it will bang you upside your head.
Oh my God.
the craziest mess. See,
Yeah.
you know, and it brings me to this. It's been said by many black intellectuals,
Right.
that we ought not let our oppressors educate our children.
Right.
That was most famously said by Dr. King
Yeah.
and Malcolm X. All right? Educating our own children is practical, but guess what? It's also big business. See, not only do they want to profit from educating our children, but they want to miseducate. You know? And I say it's big business because since 1995, the charter schools program has handed out over $4 billion in support of charter schools. It's a lot of money.
But yet, all the charter schools in Wilmington is closed.
Ain't that something?
I mean, you could see the lies and the manipulation of what it is that they're doing, and actually, the world is about tired of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is.
That's what. Now, in support of what Nsoromma is saying, alarmingly, about $1 billion is found to be lost due to fraud and waste.
What? How you lose $1 billion?
How you lose?
Hey, yo, Pat, you see that $1 billion I dropped in the truck?
Well, I ain't got that truck no more.
You ain't got that. You ain't got that truck no more.
I ain't got that truck no more. Regardless how you personally feel about charter schools, it's undeniable that we could have done plenty with $1 billion. It's also clear in Black history that Black people have a long history of starting our own schools on a shoestring. All right, we have done that. Look, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you would get a Black woman that luckily had been sent to college by her family. All right, come back to the Black community. She'd get a slate, a piece of chalk, all right, and some wood to carve on,
And start teaching. Hey, yo, but dude, I don't think the world really realized that what that billion is. $1 billion is $1 million million.
That's $1 million.
Think about that.
Yeah.
$1 million
What can
millions.
we do with $1 million?
Come on,
You
man.
talk about taking some education.
Not only that, poverty or all of that will be somewhat vented.
Right?
And they just gave $43 billion to Ukraine,
Ain't that
but
something?
they can't give $1 billion to America.
Right.
and
And to our education.
to our education, and to the homeless. And
Right.
I mean,
Oh.
it's America is a piece of doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, buddy. And you know why? I'm gonna tell you.
The American government, I would say.
Yes, indeed.
Because I love America. America's nice. The trees, the streets, the sun.
Yeah, yeah. We like being here.
Yes, I love being.
You know, and you know, it's something because I mean, our people built this country. Make no mistake about it.
Right.
All right. But the thing is, in the past 3 months, like I said before, the U.S. Supreme Court made the most regressive, socially damaging rulings since the 1800s. Now, what else they going to overturn? Pay attention to detail. I always tell you that.
Yeah.
Because this is your periodic reminder that the U.S. Constitution was written by a handful of rich dudes.
White dudes.
Rich
white dudes.
who didn't know what atoms were. They practiced medicine based on 4 humors, had no idea that dinosaurs existed. They used guns that fire 4 rounds a minute, regarded women as literal property, and would have considered a light bulb to be pure witchcraft. These are the people that you're saying, well, the founding fathers, what their ideal of what they lived in the 1700s. You know, so these were not like, you know, modern men who had any idea of the nuances of what we're dealing with today.
They weren't from Kemet.
Right?
they weren't advanced people, you know.
You know, for the most part, they were monsters.
Yeah.
They were monsters. And you know what? It brings me around to, well, let me say this so I can understand. So as I understand the Supreme Court, the government can arrest and jail you without Miranda, because it's something crap they can pass. They can execute you, even if your lawyer screwed up and forced and they can force you to have a baby, and now use tax dollars to support religion. Okay, because that's one of the things that they're trying to do is tear down the wall of church versus state. All right.
So with this, right?
Mhm.
Just because they changed the law, that don't mean the right has changed.
Oh no.
You still have a right to do things that you want to do within that situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
No,
no,
right?
no, because if
You
it
lose
comes
all
up,
your rights.
you lose your rights.
With that, that's what I was saying.
That's what they're saying. You no longer have Miranda rights. The cops don't have to read you your rights now.
Right, they can just pull you over and shoot you, bust you in your head, and just keep going.
Or throw you in the car. In Dayton, Ohio.
So what about when one be pulled over, you get out the car, you know this can happen to you, you get out and you just start firing at the cops?
Well, they're a pretty good gang.
They're a big gang now.
With radios and communication, and they coming at you.
But the feds is supposed to be the ones that you can call now on the police now, and they supposed to investigate to the. But you know how it is when you
remember the feds are white supremacists.
You investigate yourself. Oh yeah, we're going together.
Yeah. Well, we investigated ourselves and found we didn't do anything wrong.
Good job. Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrible, man.
It is.
I mean, for the next generation to come through and have these kind of laws in effect, whereas though you almost losing all your rights to being the human being, free will that you normally supposed to have, a God-given thing, they trying to stop that.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Wow.
That's what they do. WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah. Wow. They try to do us dirty. You know what I mean? And a lot of it is going to be towards the blacks, because they ain't going to be pulling white people out of the car and beating them up and stuff like that.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So we got to really understand and see what's good.
That's what
Yo, what's up? How you popping, girl? What's good?
You did that.
I did that.
See the X in the corner in the second window?
Okay, boom. Boom.
All right.
Bessie, what's up?
Who was that?
Bessie.
Oh, that was Bessie?
Yeah,
I'm Bessie.
So serious.
Big up, Bessie. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's what it is. WHGE 95.3 FM. Right. Check it. Trump didn't just lose the election.
Right.
Okay. And I don't know if he's going to jail or not.
Lose it?
He didn't just lose the election. He lost 60 plus legal challenges. He lost his efforts to get Republican state legislatures to undo the results. He lost his effort to get his VP to overturn the results. All right? I'm going to tell you about that. Because they tried to make Mike Pence a hero because he wouldn't overturn the results. Okay? The reason he wouldn't is because he couldn't find a way to do it and make it look legal.
Right.
All right? He called Dan Quayle. For y'all that don't know, Dan Quayle was the first Bush president's vice president.
Okay.
Dan Quayle is also the vice president that couldn't spell potato. Just to let you know who he called with some goddamn advice. All right? So this is no hero. He lost 3 separate counts in Georgia. He lost an audit conducted by his own allies in Arizona. And he lost his multiple efforts to get the Supreme Court to intervene, even though Uncle Clarence Thomas would have been with him. All right? No candidate ever found more ways to lose an election than Trump. And to prove that now, this young lady came out who's now under threat. All right?
Under threat.
She is now under threat. 25-year-old Kathy Hutchinson, who was a White House staffer.
Okay.
Oh, she spilled the beans. She came with the receipts. She poured the coffee out. Oh, yeah. She poured the tea out.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She told that, oh, this was planned. He didn't care. Look, Trump wanted to go to the Capitol with the insurrectionists on January 6th. His own Secret Service said, nah, man, we can't take you because it's dangerous over there and this, that. Trump said, they said, look, they got guns. And Trump said, they ain't going to shoot me.
Right.
Them my people. They ain't gonna shoot me. We gonna run up in there and take this thing. And it was like, nah, man, you know, get your ass back in the car. You know, hey,
Oh yeah, no, Trump was a gangster, man.
oh, he's straight gangster.
Straight like that. I mean, that's what we need now in there, because the bull eats soft as butter, man.
Man, he sure as hell is.
Oh man.
He sure as hell is. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something now. This chick, she told how Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff at the time, and Hutchinson's boss,
Right.
told her things might get real bad. All right, and
Real
they're
bad.
on January 6th.
Wow.
The White House knew that the Proud Boys, a far right-wing group
Far right.
with a history of political violence, had every plan to be in Washington. They didn't have anything. I don't think he told them to come on in. Remember, in the debate, he told the Proud Boys to stand down and wait.
Right.
All right, January 6th came, they wasn't standing down no more, they was on their way. And he wanted to get in front line. Oh yeah, he wanted the Secret Service, but like I said, to let armed supporters into his rally. All right, now, like Nsoromma said, who we got in there now? He soft as butter. He just soft as butter. I'm gonna tell you something. These European Americans in political power in the U.S. right now, they should stop comparing themselves to the so-called founding fathers. All right?
Right.
Especially the weak-ass Democrats. At least the Republicans got some ruthlessness about them. They hardcore, cold-blooded, ruthless about what they want. All right? And let me tell you something about these founding fathers. Washington, Jefferson, and the rest of them, they would have executed Trump. Most of the insurrectionists, some congressmen, and a Supreme Court justice or two, and probably a few senators. And you don't think so? Remember who these people were. Aaron Burr, vice president to Thomas Jefferson, killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel. Jefferson shot a man on the White House lawn. Washington shut down the Whiskey Rebellion with swift and fatal authority, because the peaceful transfer of power was sacred to them. All right? Trump would not have got far, you know, with the so-called founding fathers.
Right.
You know, once Trump supporters marched on the Capitol and he put a hit on his own vice president, because y'all know he put a hit on his vice president when he went and turned the thing over. The jig would have been up. They would have wrapped this up before the end of the month. In January 2021. Look, the peaceful transfer of power, like I said, was sacred to them. I don't care how racist they were. They was with that. The point is, Trump's attempted coup would have been stopped. Okay, Trump was indeed white lashed to Obama, but this flame was lit by white supremacist deity, Ronald Reagan. May he roast to hell and may the devil sodomize him with a pitchfork. Of course, Reagan was the resentful response to the civil rights movement in Black Power. Reagan made it socially acceptable to be racist and put in motion the conditions for the rise of a Trump. The election of Obama just blew the lid off. You know, they was no longer saying it in secret. They was letting you know they was racist straight up. All right? Even though he was very much right of center politically and not the least bit progressive and really cowardly on racial issues. I'm talking about Obama, all right? And that's just the way it was. But like I said,
he was strategically placed in there anyway, because at that point, when he came into office, we as Black people was tired of that. And we was getting ready to go to our war or whatever we had to do to straighten it out. So they said, okay, we're going to give you this president, this Black guy, the president. And then they gave him up. He did a good job. They kept him two terms,
right?
You know, and I don't really see him doing anything for us as a people. We didn't change any of the laws, lynching. I mean, we didn't do anything that was beneficial, I would say, to us being here.
No, he didn't. You know that you know you're gonna upset some people coming off on Obama.
No, Obama, my boy, I like Obama.
Okay.
I'm just saying
He
he
didn't do
didn't
no work.
wash the car right.
I heard that.
You know, I mean, when I go to the car wash and I want my car fully detailed and I give you $100, I want $100 job. I don't want a $10 job for $100.
I heard
You
that.
know what I'm saying? That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
You know, everybody got their opinion. you
Right,
know?
right. That's what you know. Well, what's the day? July the 2nd? Yeah.
It's July 2nd.
Yeah, July 2nd.
Wow.
So we're coming up on the 4th of July.
You want to celebrate that?
No.
I was wondering. That's a very, very vicious holiday.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And who broke it down to us that it was vicious? Frederick Douglass.
That's
Yeah, indeed. Because in 1852, when there's still slavery in America, these fools was crazy enough. This is how arrogant these white supremacists are.
well, you know they arrogant.
Oh, yeah. They were arrogant enough to invite former slave, runaway slave, Frederick Douglass, to speak at their 4th of July celebration.
Hey, they got a surprise.
That is pride. And when Frederick said, and it's the whole speech, check it out on YouTube and check out James Earl Jones reading Frederick Douglass' speech.
That's my man too, James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
He's amazing dude. That's what it is. What to an American slave is your 4th of July? That's what Frederick Douglass said when he got up to speak.
Okay.
He said, I will answer. A day that reveals to him more than any other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sound of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations are tyrants, brash-fronted impudence. Your shout of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious praise and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. This is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking, or there is not a nation on the earth more guilty of practices shocking and bloody than the people of the United States at this very hour. Frederick Douglass in 1852.
And yo, when he was up on stage and he started that speech, they was looking for the plug. They didn't have plugs. Yo, oh my God.
You know, and that can remind me of, especially that last paragraph. Let me read that again because I kind of screwed it up a little bit, but I'm going to read that last part again. There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States.
That's true right now to 2022.
Yep.
Now, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, it reminds me of an interview I saw with Louis Farrakhan, and Mike Wallace was interviewing him. And Mike Wallace said that Nigeria is just the most corrupt country in the world. I've been there. I saw it. He was talking to the wrong somebody.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Because Minister Farrakhan ate his ass alive for that.
Definitely breaking down.
Oh, yeah. He told him, he said, how dare you?
Right.
How dare you have the nerve to say somewhere else?
It's worse than America.
It's worse than America.
Much blood as America has on his hands.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I seen
You seen that out there?
It was fire.
Straight fire.
Yeah.
Straight fire. He didn't hold back on him at all.
I mean, and everything he was saying was true.
Absolutely.
Through the history and paperwork, you can look up everything he was saying. That was going on at that time.
At that
you
time,
know?
right? You know, and
It's
it's
not
something.
throw him under the bus, man. It's something. What?
Yeah.
And it's
People
something. You just right saying it's something.
Yeah, well, it's something. Oh, at the end of that, Mike Wallace asked you, well, you know, what country do you know is more corrupt than Nigeria? He said, I'm living in it. Are you kidding? The United States, the most corrupt country in the world. That's where, you know. And I tell you something. that the United States, and I know this, all right, you know, they're going to say that, you know, we're a democracy and this, that, yeah. It's an empire. It's a corporate empire. Anytime you have a country, all right, with military bases in a multitude of foreign countries, it's because you're in there policing your interest in their country. That's an empire. America is in a constant state of war, whether it's blood or not. It's in a constant state of controlling resources in other countries, especially those countries in Africa. Now, for instance, right now in the Congo, okay, the Congo is where you get coltan and cobalt, I think it is.
And they just found a bunch of gold.
Yeah, I think that was Uganda where they just found a bunch of gold.
Okay.
All right, but in the Congo, because without the Congo's resources, coltan and cobalt,
Right.
all right, there are no cell phones, there are no computers. Okay. Now the Congo, what they did was they kicked out China,
Right.
they kicked out Russia, and they kicked out the Americans. All right. Now, in return, the Americans have got some of their cave sellout Uncle Toms.
Mm-hmm.
They can use the word Uncle Tom, Sambos. Right. Right.
Okay.
You know, to go into the Congo, and right now the Congo is dealing with being attacked from outside sources that are supported by the colonizers, and it's genocide going on in the Congo right now.
Yeah.
You know, wake up. Look
And then you
around.
don't see no news, no media news,
Nope.
no coverage, no nothing. You just keep seeing gunshots and stuff like this
Mhm.
in America on the laws and stuff they want to promote to make you change your mind about what's going on.
That's what, you know,
Their narrative is serious.
man, their narrative is something else, brother. That's where, well, we got about three minutes left here. As usual, our time flies by. You know, and let me tell you something. In case you forgot, white supremacy has a plan. And it's a global plan. All right? Yeah, check it out. Every time a cop is acquitted for murder of a black person, what do we do? Oh, the system is broken. Stop it. The system is not broken. It's working exactly as it was intended to work.
Now, we had them deacons to the bureau.
Yeah, we had them beacons of defense. You know, that's where, but we can't, it's something that we can't unify on that level anymore for some reason. You know, how many times have you walked by a black man who you may not have known, gave me the what's up, and he looked at you like, what up in me for?
Because the doctrine is serious.
Yeah.
That mental warfare, he was in it.
Yeah. That's where, you know, the system was not created to give us justice. The system was created to subjugate black people. Don't get it mixed. Every time an innocent black person is murdered by the cops, black people's cry is, it's the training, stop it. And I'm going to tell you about the training. I want to say in Michigan, a group of Boy Scouts went to a police training academy or something, and the police are using targets, and all their targets are black men.
Right, but they order white Spanish and all that, but
Right.
they only hung up the black.
They only hung up the black.
Yeah, I seen the same thing. I was really upset for that, for the simple fact that if you're a black police officer and you are training and you notice this and you don't say nothing, you just as bad as them.
As long as he got on that uniform, don't give his pigmentation no consideration. That's what, you know. And the police chief, he came out and apologized to his staff, to the city council who was in on it because they funded him, to the police officers on his thing, you know, the mayor and everybody. He apologized to everybody but black people. He apologized for getting caught. That's what he apologized for, which is what they always do. Okay? How many times have we seen white suspects who actually committed a crime taken into custody without incident, as opposed to innocent black people who are unarmed and have not even committed a crime and are consistently murdered.
And how about these so-called innocent people become vicious terrorists? And then they have a reason to be for that to be done to them. Then what?
Then what?
You know?
Then what?
Then what?
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, cops don't have to be retrained not to murder white suspects.
Oh no, they give them donuts, crackers, and cheese.
Mm-hmm. Got trips to Burger King.
You want ginger ale?
you all right? Thank you on the back there.
Yeah.
We all prayed up, y'all. Okay? We all prayed up. They don't give a damn about ineffective marches. We don't need another protest. We need to begin the process of changing the social construct. This is now about destroying a system that refuses to recognize our humanity and right to exist.
We ain't even got to destroy that system that you said. We just gotta not bother. You know? Yeah, just build our own system and then invest in ourselves. But we can't do that. It's hard to do that. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do that because you got people that say, well, I wasn't raised like that. We always celebrate the 4th of July.
I mean, indoctrination again.
Indoctrination. You know, if you don't understand global white supremacy, everything else will just confuse you. That's what Nellie Fuller teaches us. Global white supremacy has a plan for black people. Global white supremacy plans to enslave black people mentally, physically, and spiritually. How you go to church and have the same religion as the KKK? Global white supremacy plans to abuse and terrorize black people. You don't think so? Look around. Global white supremacy plans to kill black people. This is called genocidal activity. Genocidal activity is intentionally attempting to deprive the natural right of a people to exist as a race. When are black people going to realize global white supremacy has long ago declared war on our very existence? It's no longer about freedom and liberty. How many times have I told you? It's about survival. This is the open eye.
WHGE 95.3.
As we always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. Patrice Gibbs, Nsoromma. WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yo, what's good? Hey, yo. I see y'all still with us. It's all by design. You know, yeah, true that. Yes, it is. Hey, yo, matter of fact, we off, so I want to say peace. Thank y'all for tuning in. And, yo, tune in next Saturday where you want to get some more information because we're going to keep dropping it and giving it to you. That's all that is. Hold on. Yo, P.
Yo, thanks for joining us. Hope you learned something. Hope you stay in there with us. Yo, keep sending me good stuff to bring to the people. Big ups. Peace.
And yo, streaming all platforms. Nsoromma on Mr. Gibbs. You dig?
See you on the next one.